turtles, for instance, this box turtle, they can live to be over 100 years old. And the way to determine the age is you look on the shell. Now this shell has been polyurethaned to preserve.
Right.
But you'll notice these little ripples, like lines on a tree trunk. And by counting those lines, those are the growth rings. And in each year, that's how much the turtle grew. So this, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Count those growth rings, and then you'll know, okay, this box turtle was 20 years old.
Right. I mean, speaking of this turtle shell, in ancient Chinese, turtle shells used for predicting future. They read patterns from the turtle shell to sort of correlate to what major events and so on. It's fascinating how that actually was used, because these patterns. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful, and the intricate design and the colors are just beautiful to come across out in the forest. We have a few other specimens here, moving up to larger mammals.
Yeah.
This is a raccoon.
Oh, that's a raccoon.
And then when we're dealing with younger students, we start to mention some of the basics, carnivore versus herbivore.
Right.
And of course the students see all these sharp teeth.
Right.
And then we explain, well, is this an herbivore or a carnivore? Is it going to eat plants or meat? Raccoons are omnivores, they eat pretty much anything.
Right.
But you can obviously see the sharp teeth. Common to carnivores. The same thing goes to this coyote skull.
I see. They also have that front
teeth.
Yeah.
And then you can make comparisons on eye sockets and jaw structures, and compare families and similarities. I'm going to put these down and just grab these for a sec. Now, if we can get a close-up, we'll notice
similar.
They're almost identical. One is larger and one is smaller. And those large teeth, those orange teeth, these are both members of the rodent family.
I see.
And this one over here is a beaver, the largest rodent we have in the Northeast. And then this little guy is a muskrat. And in the water, they're often mistaken because they're almost identical from a distance.
But the size is quite different, right?
The size, obviously, is much different.
Yeah.
And, of course, the muskrat doesn't have that flat paddle-like tail. But again, students can actually see the rodent skeleton and say, wow, no wonder they're all part of the same family.
Right, yeah, it's very, very similar, yeah.
And we have not only mammals and reptiles and amphibians and birds, but insects are another favorite specimen to document.
Right, like grasshoppers and praying
mantises, which we have a nice segment we'll take a look at in a few seconds.
That's good.
So the audience can see. Yeah. And again, when filmed properly, the most common species can be presented in a way to audiences that they may have never appreciated before. And especially when you can get a nice close-up and see the appendages and the claws and the mouth parts. Right. And that's the thing we're trying to encourage, is that we don't have to go to the Amazon jungle to find diversity. We have it all right here in our community.
Yes, that's great, and praying mantis is also fascinating, just the name itself, and of course the characteristics of know, what they do sometimes registered as very, very, deeply.
That's right.
Yes.
And so, yes, macro videography is, from the standpoint of a videographer, sometimes we don't have weeks on end to get interesting footage.
Right.
And that's why it's nice to be able to just go out, find a butterfly or a
whatever.
I recently found a rhinoceros beetle.
Oh.
Which I hadn't seen one in years around here, and it's about as large as my thumb. And when you just present these things on a big screen to audiences, I didn't even, wow.
So where did you find it?
This was in Terre Haute, a big nature preservation area in Bethel and Danbury, Connecticut.
I see. Is that beetle sort of harmless to sort of useful plants and so on?
Well, they're harmless. They pretty much sift through decomposing wood matter.
I see.
So they're not a threat to any type of plant.
Right.
But here comes that video segment.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, they fast forwarded through it.
Predator lurks. The praying mantis is pound for pound one of the most menacing creatures on Earth.
Right.
It waits patiently for a victim to crawl
How much
by.
time do we have left?
Its long, powerful front appendages are lined with sharp spikes. Once in its clutches, there is no escape. Mantises have the ability to fly and come in two colors, brown and green. The female mantis will deposit an egg case on the same stems where she now hunts. We'll keep an eye on her as the year progresses.
You think of anything, Peter?
No.
Oh, really?
So that's also very interesting. I think this this documentary ought to be really broadcast, throughout the community and let more people watch them.
Yes, and this will be on in, I believe it's going to air on some of the franchises in this.
Oh yes.
If you want to comment
I have
on that.
sort of requested a airing time in our area throughout Yorktown area. Yorktown actually cover many areas like Somers and Louisburg, and also in the Peekskill area and Ossining and so on. Of course, in the public channel, the way to do this is through residents' request. So actually, if anybody wants to have this DVD shown in their community, basically they have to make a request to Cablevision and submit a DVD. They will find a time in the broadcast.
Okay, very good.
Right.
And one thing I'd like to comment on
Yes.
before the show is, before we run out of time, is that this documentary, I'd like to thank the Somers Education Foundation.
All right, SEF. Yes.
SEF.
They are very nice to the public schools and
And this video was made possible through a grant by the SEF.
Right.
And it worked out wonderfully for all parties involved. And the one thing I wanted to say is that this DVD not only is just something to be shown as you're sitting on the couch watching TV in the evening, but it's designed that teachers
for interactive. I noticed that you have
scroll through a menu.
You have table of
select,
contents and so on.
Yes, you can select any of the segments. So if you're in the classroom doing a lesson on amphibians or mammals or nocturnal activity, you can scroll to a selected scene, show that segment, and there's some information there, and then
so you did all that yourself, right? On the editing part of this documentary?
Well, what happened was I was the chief editor, and with the media department, not only was I doing the environmental education with the science students, I was also helping media students learn the basics of what goes on behind these cameras here.
Right.
Now,
yeah.
So they got practice editing and running camera and going through content and script analysis and all that good stuff.
Good. In fact, I'm hoping to get these media students to be intern for this type of public program. I hope this will work out between Cablevision, of course, supporting, and schools, so we can arrange that, because that the live show production is the very sort of experience they wanted to have. So
yes, that's excellent. And in the few minutes we have left, I think we're going to run one last segment.
Yeah.
This is a nice mother raccoon with some kits.
Good.
And we're going to maybe fade out with that, but we'll air that at some point.
I tell you, speaking about the raccoon, this is 2 winters ago in our basement on the ceiling roof, and one panel fell down, and we then discovered it's something animal, and then we tried to find and trace, then go through the ceiling and near the fireplace. Eventually we spotted by the fireplace outside, there's a hole, and there were 5 baby raccoons in there.
Wow.
So we naturally called the society or some place that get a specialist come in to rescue them.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they're not too much fun to have in your attic or house or garage, but
beautiful babies.
Beautiful. And in the wild,
babies.
They're always a favorite among any kind of mammal audiences love to see, because they're cute and cuddly.
Any baby animals is cute anyway, but these 5 together is really amazing.
So it seems that the audience will see that shot at the end of the show. And
are we getting?
I think we just have a couple minutes left. So if you have any final questions.
Well, actually, what I hope to do is welcome you back again, all right? And I think this type of documentary work that relates to learning, relates to education, is what the public channel should have. And I certainly, personally, I would like to see more of it. So if time permit and so on, we can always arrange for you to come back.
Sure.
Right.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Right. So this show, as a Scramble.
It's over.
Looking down into the bottom, we see our first babies of spring. This mother raccoon nurses 4 kits, just barely able to open their eyes. The name raccoon is derived from a Native American word meaning to feel with the hands. They use their dexterous hands to feel for crustaceans, amphibians, and mollusks along muddy riverbanks and waterways. A distant relative of the bear, raccoons are one of the most adaptive animals found in North America.
Whatever
we're on.
So I know time flies when you have good things.
That's right.
I hope you come back again. All right. Thank you very much to be here. And you probably don't know our show in detail, but this show is designed for school kids.
Yes.
It's an educational show. We have these games that we play. Hopefully someday we actually make this game to be really interactive, because it's designed that way. You could actually have audience in home, school, classroom, playing with this, with the studio audience together.
That's excellent.
Right.
And if the audiences stay tuned, and this documentary, the full 40 minutes, all filmed in the Anglefly Nature Preserve, will be